Hello, I'm Anna Cortes. I'm going to be showing you my IB sophomore database program today. My client is IB coordinator Nancy Shane, and she wanted a program to keep track of all of the incoming IB sophomore classes / credits. Usually Ms. Shane has to do this by hand using multiple sheets of paper for each student, which was time consuming for her, so I am also going to detail how easy and quick it is to use this program. I am going to be testing this program according to my criteria of success. So the first thing that we're going to look at is that the program opens up without any trouble, which means that the program does not crash when opened. So as you can see, the program opened up with no trouble. Now we're going to look at the data sheet how the data sheet loads onto the J table. So the client's original student information sheet containing all the students' names and ID numbers should load onto the J table in the appropriate columns. So originally the client is going to receive this data sheet or something similar with each new year's classes names and ID numbers, and all she has to do is download it to her computer and access it through the J file chooser. Alright, so as we can see, the ID numbers are in the ID columns, and the names are in the name column, and it loaded perfectly well. So now we're going to look at the new data sheet being created. So we make this new data sheet. When we make it, all she has to do is select the same file she selected to open this up. And what this does is it creates a file in Excel that contains the information from that file, which are the names and the ID numbers, but they also contain all of the subjects that the student takes. And what happens is that the X indicates that the student has taken a class, and these are all the subjects. The client never has to access this file. This file helps the J dialog keep track of all the classes that each student takes. So whenever she checks the boxes, an X is written in the workbook on the appropriate row of the student name. So now we're going to be looking at the search bar's functionality. So this is convenient for the client because she doesn't have to scroll down to search for a certain person. So if she wants to search for Ana Maria, all she has to do is search up Ana, and she will be right here. Or if she wants to look up her last name, Chavez, she's going to be right here. She can also look up the ID numbers. So if she wants to look up Dennis, she just has to look up 1927. There's Dennis. So the search bar works. Now we're going to look at the J dialog and how it opens when you click on an ID or a name. So it opens when you click on the ID, and it opens when you click on the name. So now we're going to be looking at the function of each checkbox, and the dialog checkboxes, as I mentioned earlier, write an X in the Excel file to keep track of each credit that the student has. So let's say Ali has all these classes checked off, and Dennis has just TOKA. So every time she does this, this should be able to keep track of the data and not delete it. So as you can see, Ali still has these checkboxes checked off, and so does Dennis. He has TOKA. Now we're going to be looking at the client, how easily the client can navigate this program. As you can see, it's just two different panes. It's the J frame and the J dialog. The client, all she has to do is click on the names and import the file from her computer, as well as create the data sheet, and then it's all she has to do is really that. Now we're going to be looking at how easily the client can create a new database. So all she would have to do is open up the program and select a new file. In this case, I'm going to be using names test, which which is a file I created. It's just got two names. And create a new data sheet, so it'll be an empty data sheet. So that means the JDialog checkboxes will be unchecked until she goes in and she checks the checkboxes for the classes that the student is taking. And as you can see, it stores that information. So it works. It's very easy to do. Now, this program should reduce the time consumption of this task. As you can see, it's very easy to do, and instead of going through each sheet of paper individually, all she has to do is pull up this program and all her students are right there. The program accessibility is simple. All she has to do is click on the jar file that's going to be on her desktop. Some improvements that could definitely be made for this program in the future and some updates would be making the windows resizable, being able to expand them whichever way, or make them full screen. Also, another thing that we could do is whenever we check the checkboxes, there could be a box totaling all the credits, so that she didn't have to look at it herself and have to determine that herself. Alright, thank you.